Hey, what's up guys? This is Oakley and I'm going to cover a video that was just released. Check it out in the description below for yourself, the full version. I'm going to do a recap as always. Now I will warn you that I am on vacation, as you may have known. So basically what I'm going to be doing is covering screenshot by screenshot. I have pretty crappy internet right now and you should see me. I'm kind of stuck in the basement of the hotel trying to get as far away from everyone, and man, I'm just having a heck of a time trying to upload this and get it to you. But anyways, I hope you enjoy. For the full video, go ahead and check out the annotations in the description. I'll link you that. Anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the key points in these sort of high definition screenshots where I highlight the most important things, and again we're going to pick it apart. Also check out my Pompeii video where I try and share some of the adventures I'm having with you right now. I'm over in Italy. So anyways, this battle is going to be the humans against the AI, and it's going to be Macedon against the Romans. So the first thing I wanted to point out is the map itself. The map itself looks beautiful. If you look at the campaign map, or not the campaign map, the battle map at the bottom right, it looks awesome. It's asymmetric. I like the way you can kind of see the details of the different units. Of course, that's something we've seen in every game, but look at the forest. I like how both sides have a chance to engage in that sort of stealth mode going into the forest, and you'll see the deployment later. The Macedonians make use of it. And anyways, you can see right here the forces, the bar at the bottom that shows the various troops. There's 11 Macedonian forces, so of course not the full 20 out of 20. And you can see here just that at a glance, the blue bar indicates your sort of how many weapons and projectiles you have left, and the green is a glance at your health. In any case, I wanted to talk about how this battle, we're not really sure what it is. All that we know so far is that it's going to be Rome against Macedon, human against AI, and basically it's going to be a skirmish type of battle against a very hard AI. Anyways, the units you see here are the shield bearers at 160 men, hoplites at 160, slingers at 120, and Thessalian cavalry at 80. So the troops are going to vary. Now, I would think this would be larger settings, but again, this may be the default. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out. But this looks like a pretty big force. But again, it's not the full 20 out of 20. Something that I heard is each army will be 20 out of 20, but on a battlefield you can field up to 40 land units or 40 sea units, or have a mix of 20 land, 20 sea. That's kind of how it pans out. Here you can see the sort of the new forest. It looks great, and second off, the line of sight dynamic is in play here. The cavalry are not exactly hidden in the forest yet, but because the forest blocks is in between essentially the cavalry and the Roman forces, the cavalry are hidden with the line of sight mechanism, so that's something that's cool. And here you can see some of the Macedonian units here. These are going to be the shield bearers and the hoplites. So, you know, with the hoplites, of course, it's a shorter spear. You don't see the full-length sarissa that's most notable with the Macedonians. But look at the troops, look at the shields, look at the details on that, look at the armors, the cuirass, the different leather brooches, and all this stuff that they have, the helmets, the facial expressions, all of it is highly detailed, the dings on the armor, the damage, it's all super interesting. And when you look at that whole video in its entirety with the audio, you can see the footsteps of the troops, the troops yelling at each other, the commanders yelling, all this stuff. It's really cool. Now I wanted to point out one of the things that these units can do is sort of form a phalanx or a hoplite, and that's where they kind of lock their shield. And it's like you saw in Shogun 2, it's a shield wall. And something they mention is there's going to be two types of these phalanxes. One is going to be for the longer sarissas, and one is going to be for the more Greek-style phalanx, which was, of course, shorter. Anyways, you can see them forming up here. It's not the overlapping shields that would have, been seen traditionally and historically, but it's close enough, and I think it looks good. And you'll see the real staying power that these forces have. Of course, the deeper you make them, the longer they'll be able to hold out. So it really depends on you. In any case, you can see the Roman forces moving out here. They're pretty substantial, and it's kind of historical in the way it's set up. You have the velites screening the forces, and you sort of have the triplex axis with the the three layers of the Principes Estati and the Triarii moving forward. So the AI is going to sort of play off of that historical feature, and then you can see the cavalry wings on the sides. In any case, the human player decides to move up, and he has hidden Macedonian cavalry on the left, hidden Macedonian cavalry on the right. And then take a look at the UI at the bottom. These are the companion cavalry that are going to be moving up with the general, and they have a bunch of abilities at the bottom that I'll point out as they get used during the battle. But this is something you're going to have to take notice of, is how many of these special skills there are. Anyways, you see the Thessalian cavalry moving up here, and they're labeled very heavy shock cavalry. So I like how they have these more specific names for everything, very heavy versus medium, and then the additive of the shock cavalry. So for example, the slingers as well are very light. You might have light, so you have all this variety. Also the details here in terms of how they look, the animations, all this stuff is really, really cool. I was super impressed by this battle and all the minute details. Anyways, you see that the troops here have gone down to 115. They've lost 5 men, and that's because of the incoming Pilla coming from the legionnaires in the distance. Anyways, you see some of the cavalry forces here, and one of their abilities they have is called Stampede. It has a 5-minute cooldown, and what it allows you to do is kind of a burst of energy as you move forward. And moving forward, basically what it does is it revives your troops and increases your movement speed. So this is something you want to do when you're chasing down routing units, or if you're breaking out of cover and you want to have a sudden charge, or if you want to exploit a gap in the enemy lines. This is kind of what you're going to want to take advantage of as you move forward. So there's going to be all these different abilities for different troops, loose formation, form the phalanx, stuff like that. There's going to be a lot to get used to, but it's going to be really interesting and it offers a lot more variety. You can see the forces moving forward here. The Greeks are going to be on the defensive, sort of doing their skirmishing and falling back as the legions move forward. Take note that the legions are moving forward in their triple lines, screened again by the velites, which I think is really cool, and that the AI is using that. I was really impressed by the AI in this game. Now, it was almost to the point where it sort of felt scripted, but again, I don't think CA would, pretend that this is a free range thing, whereas it was in fact scripted. So what I think this is an authentic human versus AI type of scenario, and it was really impressive, I thought. And again, it's on very hard difficulty. But anyways, you can see the Romans moving up, and look at those green icons over their heads. That means they've been influenced by some sort of attribute. So in this case, it was the general, I believe, giving them buffs to attack and defense and morale and stuff like that. So that's something you can do with your generals, is, as we saw with Shogun, have these morale effects and inspire them and do various things. Now the way this works to make it a little less of like sort of arcadey is it would be a banging of the shields, kind of like pumping up the forces, inspiring the men by being right behind them. And you can see this is something that the AI is going to do. So look at the left, those are going to be the Macedonian cavalry, and they're facing off against Roman forces, and right behind that is the general, who's providing moral support, giving the buffs, and he's not engaging, he's not a suicide general. That's very important. The general is just sitting right there, encouraging on his troops, and then you have the velites in the back adding additional cover and support. So that's something that I think did a good job of showing off everything in the battlefield, and the AI specifically, I should say. Battle rhythm is one of the things that you can do. 2-minute, 40-second cooldown, and it basically targets a friendly unit to gradually improve their combat abilities for an extended time. And that's going to be something that's going to help stationary troops or anything that troops really need to hold the line and do well. So this is going to be very important, as well as Second Wind, which is a 45-second cooldown ability where you can select troops and basically you cancel how tired they are. So that's going to be very good, again, for troops that are in combined battles like this with the sustained melee, and this is what allows these basically forces right here to hold out really long. Now what I anticipate using the Second Wind for would be for cavalry. So because I'm very active with cavalry, I'm going to have them charging around. I'll have them retreat to my general. My general will give them the Second Wind, and they'll be ready to go out again. Anyways, you can see this as a later stage in the battle, as the Roman forces are holding forces in reserve, waiting for sort of their main forces to be tired out, and then they'll commit these strategic reserves. That's something they said in the battle, and I didn't quite believe it, but you do see instances of it in this battle, and I think it was pretty authentic, and it's cool, it's historical, and it will definitely help the AI sustain combat and eventually win. You can also see some of the lighter troops engaging. I just wanted to show the detail present in the ground, how these forces look in terms of differentiation, and how you can have these forces engage in melee even though they're skirmishers, so using them in all sorts of abilities. Here again, later in the battle, the shield wall, the phalanx is basically holding up, although it's starting to crumble under the pressure. The Roman forces still have their strategic reserves, and they're starting to flank. You can see that. So again, it's very impressive. And this is a crucial turning point in the battle where the cavalry, the companion cavalry with the general, charge these velite troops, and a lucky spear basically hits the general and takes him out, and that's the turning point in the battle that leads to the collapse of the Macedonian forces. But in any case, take a look at that general unit in the background for the Romans. He's basically moving forward, and he's trying to probe for weaknesses. At the same time, he'll move up to strategic positions, engage the enemy, and also sort of help give buffs to his forces. Take a look at the diamond bonuses as well that you can take up for the companion cavalry. Now I like both of those, how you have all these specific traits that you can take up in different formations, as well as the fact that you did in fact see the enemy general bouncing around, doing all his things, doing general things. That was very believable. I really like that. It's a nice touch. Anyways, you can see the Roman forces starting to prevail here, and something that someone had mentioned before is that when units start to rout, there'll be a trickle from the back and eventually the whole unit will break instead of it kind of being an instantaneous break. And I thought that was pretty cool. Now, it wasn't necessarily confirmed, and I didn't hugely see it in effect in this battle. You know, we may have missed it with the camera angle, so that's something we still have to wait to see if it's confirmed or not. In any case, the Romans end up taking the battle, winning it, and yeah, it was a cool video. I really look forward to playing this game and seeing more of it. Anyways, guys, check out the full video. I'll link it in the annotations and also to the description. Anyways, again, sorry for not having the full video anyways, because I'm on vacation and I'm, you know, recording this from the bottom of a hotel. So yeah, I'd like to share my adventures with you. Check out this video right here. This is going to be for Pompeii. I'll upload more of these in the near future. See you guys next time.